The filter icon is a pretty important tool inside of a Power BI report. What it lets you do is it lets you answer the question, hey, for that visual, what filters are being applied to it? Sometimes with a very simple page, that's kind of obvious, but as the page gets bigger and more complex, that question becomes a little trickier to answer. It's nice to have a convenient way to just ask that question and get an answer very quickly. So here I am in a pretty basic Power BI report. And what you'll notice here is I've got two visuals, sales by product and also sales by product. And if I want to know what filters are being applied to this visual, if I hover over the visual, what I'll see is there's a little filter icon on the top right of the visual. Now, if this visual is all the way up near the top of the page, this might actually be at the bottom. Generally speaking, though, it'll be at the top. If you hover over that filter, what it'll tell you is, hey, for this particular visual, there's currently a filter for year equals 2018 and country equals Canada, right? So the filter for fiscal year 2018 is coming from right there, and the filter for country equals Canada is coming from right there. So if I change this from Canada to, say, France, right? The numbers change first off, but now when I hover over this filter icon, it'll say fiscal year 2018 again, and it'll also say France. It'll switch that over, okay? Now, some people might ask the question, well, wait, why do I have a little filter icon for each individual visual? It'd be a lot nicer if I just had somewhere on the page, what are the filters that are being applied across the entire page? And the reason that doesn't quite work in Power BI is Power BI gives you independent control for slicers such that an individual slicer can affect one visual and not others. This is a pretty good example of that because if you look right here, both of these visuals are sales by product, but they have these sort of independent slicers. So this slicer affects this visual right here, and this slicer affects this visual right here. So notice we've got France selected over here, and if I hover over the filter icon, yep, it's still France, that hasn't changed. But if I come over here, what I see is Germany or France, right? Well, where'd Germany come from? Well, that came from this slicer right here. So if I come right here, right, now let's set this to, I don't know, Australia, and I'm going to control click for the UK, so we've got Australia and the United Kingdom. Now if I hover over this particular filter icon, I see Australia and United Kingdom. But over here, if I hover over this one, it hasn't changed. So there's not really a correct answer to the question, what filters are being applied across the entire page. It's more like what filters are being applied on a visual by visual basis. And the filter icon lets you answer that very, very quickly. So just sort of drill the idea home. If I come over here and change this fiscal year, I just remove that filter. Now if I hover over the filter icons, I've still got the countries from the slicer directly above, right? But I don't have that filter for fiscal year. Now you might be asking the question, hey, what about stuff over here in the filters page? Does that show up here in the filter icon? And it certainly does. So if I twirl this guy open, and let's set the fiscal year up here, we're going to set it to, let's just set this to, I don't know, 2008. Hit apply filter. Oh, shoot. I think it's 2018. There we go. If we set that to 2018, now, even though there's no filter up here for fiscal year 2018, because we've got a filter coming over here from the filters pane, when I hover over this, sure enough, it shows up that fiscal year.